some of you may have heard me speak before. Let's do a quick survey actually. Who's here because you want to make a lot of money on property? Yeah? Who's here for some other reason? Yeah? Yeah? Anyone get dragged along? Yeah? Multi-levels upstairs, it's okay. Cool. Excellent, cool. So tonight is going to be about 3 real deals. One of them is going to be mine. Next one's going to be Graham Jerry's, a 1 and 2 subdivision, and then we've got a 22 apartment project at Annerley that's going to be showcased after the break. So we're going to warm it up and show you 3 different types of deals. Matt's asked me to do the first one. It was a quick one. Some of you may have been here in July and saw me talk about my 30-day challenge. Anyone here heard me talk about that? Yep, cool. So I wanted to tonight give you a wrap up on that. What had happened was in July I came back from holidays. I think it was July the 12th, came back from holidays from Hong Kong and Vietnam for a couple of weeks, and there was an email in my inbox saying, Young, there's a property, you need to go buy it. So I've got this property researcher, he's out there, 10, 20 hours a week, door knocking, sending out letters to property owners direct, and we found this property, and I'm going to share with you, how we found it, and how we did with the 30-day challenge, and how it nearly fell apart during the process, but we were able to pull it in, which is pretty cool. So here was the 30-day challenge. So the 30-day challenge was to buy and sell in 30 days and make a clear $50,000 without me personally lifting a paintbrush or a hammer. So I'll let you know how that goes very soon. And look, how it started was actually 2 years ago. So a big part of the story you'll get to see is part of becoming an area expert. So this is on the south side. I'm not going to say which suburb it is, but it's about 15 k's out, zoned low to medium residential, means you can build units and townhouses on it. So in 2014, I bought this site and built some townhouses at the back, house at the front, put a duplex at the back. I worked with Craig Christie from ASI Planning, bit of a plug there, to put that development application through, kept the house at the front, duplex at the back, 1 into 3, and that was pretty cool. I ended up keeping that, that I still got those. And then this year, I finished off another project, which is 700 square metres, same suburb, same zoning, and instead of putting 2 on the back, I was able to put 3 on the back. So I kept the house at the front, put 3 at the back, so 1 into 4 there. So I've still got that dwelling there. This is in Australia, not in China. And if the buildings look close together, because they are. So the walls, of each of the buildings, whether you're looking at that 1 into 3, 1 into 2 triplex or 1 into 4 quadplex, whatever you want to call it, the walls are actually 1.8 metres apart. So from a fire rating point of view, builders can confirm that as long as it's 1800, then you don't have to fire rate them. So each of the walls are 1.8 metres apart. The roofs, however, I think are 600. That's their minimum that they need to be apart. So being able to do that. So firstly, so those are the first 2 deals that I did in that particular suburb, and this was the 3rd particular deal that I'd done in this particular suburb. So you could say I was an area expert. And so how I found it was, like I mentioned before, I've got a property researcher. He's out there 10, 20 hours a week, just out there sending letters, door knocking, because let's just do a survey. Who generally goes to realestate.com.au or domain to look for property? Just a quick survey? Yeah? Cool. So what you'll find, and I do a lot of seminars, is that you'll find that 90 to 95, maybe 99% of people, that's where they go, to look for property. There's other websites you can look at, but that's where most people go to look at property. And I say to people, if you shop in there, you shop in retail. It's like going to David Jones to buy something expecting to make money, right? And realestate.com.au is really designed for people who are sellers, not necessarily buyers. Doesn't mean that you can't buy property on there. I bought property through realestate.com.au, but I find that I'm focusing more on off-market transaction these days. So this was the deal here. The median price in the area was $384,000, and I got that email basically saying, Young, this is property, you need to buy it. We've agreed on $320,000, and here's the house. So what's so special about it? Really special is that you can actually put townhouses on the property, and it's zoned for zoned for LMR, 675 square metres, purchased it for $320. So the situation was on the Tuesday, I got the phone call, so the email. On the Wednesday, met with the owner's dad. On the Friday, finalised the deal, signed the contract up. And then the following week, I rang the real estate agent to come appraise the property. And then the agent actually thought I was the owner. He said, mate, I've already been to that property. I was there last weekend. So what it turned out to be was that the owner, who lived up in Gympie, he'd sold the property to me on the Friday, and on the Saturday got the property appraised for $400, right? So then I spent the next whole month trying to figure out is this guy going to crash the contract on me or not? Right? So it turns out that they were committed to their contract, and the seller was in a situation where the seller's dad was basically on Google, and he was a senior police sergeant, and he was going through a court case for bullying and misuse of power, and basically needed money to sort out this court case. So they were motivated to sell and just wanted to get out. So look, it wasn't anything that special. You know, if you look at the backyard, you probably see a free block of land there and also a big tree. We left that tree. Normally developers are good at cutting down trees, but this one I wasn't going to buy it necessarily, so I was just going to buy it and sell it, so we didn't cut down the tree, otherwise we would have just gone in and levelled the tree pretty quickly. Look, not much to say other than we bought it really well from a motivated seller. So that was, when you're looking at for property, some people they look for renovators, some people they look for splitters, some people look for motivated, low to medium residential. One of the things that I generally look for is motivated sellers, where people just want to get out of the deal. They don't necessarily care how much they get, they just need to get out and move on with the property, right? So often people ask, how did I know that I was going to make so much money, and also did I do any work on it? That's generally the first question people ask is, how much did I spend on the renovation? I bought it for $320, sold it for $405 in the end. How much did I spend on the reno? Because obviously you've got to add value, right, to be able to sell it for a little bit more. In my mind, well, not necessarily, because I knew what the market was worth. In my mind, when I got it, I thought it's worth somewhere between $390 and $400. I was wrong. It was worth more. Right, so the keys to the deal is being an area expert. And oftentimes when people start in the property marketplace, they're not an area expert. They just, go from one suburb, from the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, go up to Caboolture, look at a DA-approved site, get confused, go down to Ipswich, get more confused, drive around a little bit more, go to a property seminar, right? And they don't become what we call area experts. I'm generally just in 2 postcodes. I've just bought a site recently for $300,000, zoned low to medium residential once again, 560 square metres. And that one there, it's very close to the other suburbs. So the other thing is having a plan and knowing the site limitations. So if you're going to get into a site, you've got to figure out how you're going to get out of a site as well. It's not just getting in. It's not till death do us part. Oftentimes people think that buying a property is a marriage for life. It's not actually. It's a business transaction. Just like you go to McDonald's when you buy a hamburger, doesn't mean you're going to eat in there for life. It's just a business transaction. Okay. The other key to the deal is putting in lots of low offers. And I remember Shane Hiscock on the last bus trip saying that one of his keys is putting in lots and lots and lots of offers. If you're not getting deals, that's probably because you're not putting in lots of offers, and that's what a lot of people do. They go to realestate.com, property's already sold, or asking too much. You don't even bother putting in an offer. But you know what? In that area, the average price that we were seeing was around about $400, so we just made our standard blanket offer was $300. Every house that we could get in front of an owner was just $300. Yes, there was a lot of people who didn't like us. Yes, there were a lot of people saying no, and saying inappropriate words to us. But it didn't matter. For us, it was just like playing Monopoly and offering people money for their Mayfair or Park Lane at discounted prices, and we just needed 1 or 2 to really make it pay off. And look, I'll be honest, it was just an experiment. It really was just an experiment. For my last 13-lot subdivision that I did finish in September last year, I wanted to reinvest some of the capital, some of the profit into a new project, into a new property research project, just to see if this could work, if it could work in a crazy market. Because in that area, people are paying $410, $440, $450 for 700 square metres, low to medium residential. So the other key to the deal is, I know we're all busy, so in terms of finding someone with leverage, and that's what it was, finding someone who had some skills and some knowledge, and that I could train up to basically send out there 10 to 20 hours a week, having a look at deals and just knocking on doors, knocking on every door and asking, will you take my money? That's really it was. Here's 300 grand. Would you like it in exchange for your house? Yeah. It is as simple as that, right? And here's the other thing is that we signed the contract on the 15th of July. I think by the 28th of July, day 13, I think it was, we'd actually sold the property, found a buyer for $410,000. A week later, the contract fell through. But the moment that I got the first contract, I said to Paul, my property guy, I said, mate, we need to work on the backup contract, right? So a lot of times what happens is when people get a contract of sale. It's done, the job's done. No, the job has actually only begun. You've got a building and pest, you've got a finance, you've got valuation, you've got this, you've got that. They're putting it through, running it by the town planner, engineer, going through all their checks and balances. So that was a key thing for this one here, is the moment that we sold it for 410, we started working on the backup contract, and we weren't going to rest until we got that backup contract. So we got it signed up on the 28th of July, and I think about a week later, we were on the roller coaster. A week later it crashed, but luckily within a day we'd had another buyer offer us 405. So we weren't going to be greedy. Initially we could have thought, oh, you know what, we got 410, this guy's only going to pay 405, let's leave it. No, we just said, no, we'll take it because we bought it so cheap, right? So you may have heard the saying, you make your money when you buy, not when you sell, and this is a pure example of that, right? Here's another tip. The key to the deal was these couple of websites. In the past, I generally don't sell stuff myself, and I'm more than happy to pay a real estate agent commission. I like Justin. I like his shirt. He's a good guy as well. You'll see a lot of Watt Realty on the north side. If you're on the north side, you see a lot of their pink signs. So another plug for Justin there. But we tried an experiment once again with a couple of websites, Real Private and the other one's Fizbo. So if you've seen Real Private, that is how you can sell property directly by yourself. And Fizbo is the generic version of Real Private. So it's the same platform, but it's just a different interface, and you don't get phone support. Yeah, I don't get any commissions or affiliate sales from promoting this. I've used it myself, and it's just amazing. It's kind of like Real Private, you might pay $200. Fizbo, for the same product, you might pay like $80, right? So basically, it's the same owner of the one platform, and he's basically using his own platform and selling a generic version as well as a retail version, you could say. But you know, Fizbo is more than enough. So Graham, who will be speaking after me, you know, he introduced me to that, and yeah, he's like me, always trying ways to save money. So. Yeah, so for $79, it's basically put the listing on there until the property is sold. So if your property doesn't sell, you can keep advertising the property forever. Oh yes, so one of the other things in this 30-day challenge is once I secured it, I'd spent probably one day figuring out, okay, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to buy it and settle it? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to develop it? Because I've got so many exit strategies. Buy it, get a development approval and sell it. Buy it, renovate it and sell it. But I thought, you know what, let's play the game, let's do a challenge and see how quickly I can buy it and sell it. So on day 5 of signing the contract, we hadn't owned it yet. So I think signed the contract on the 15th of July. By the 20th of July, it was actually on the net, on the market for sale, right? So, but like I mentioned, there were some challenges along the way. The first contract fell over due to building and pest. He'd offered a property on a property up the road, missed out, so wanted to buy ours, and but fell over due to building and pest, which was unfortunate. But luckily we had a second buyer ready to go, lined up. So another challenge that I was trying to figure out was, okay, do I use my own cash or do I use the bank's money, right? So it was only 320 grand. And so I was able to settle it with cash, but because it was just a quick turnaround, do I spend, you know, $1,000 or $2,000 on finance, a bit of interest here and there, break fees, or do I just use my own cash? So in the end, I settled it with cash, but the finance was approved and ready to go. The other one was, should I sell using the agent or sell privately? I was more than happy to sell through an agent. I just wanted to try it, use an experiment and see how it worked. I'd never done it before. Found it quite fun, as long as I wasn't answering the phone and as long as I wasn't answering the emails. It was fun. Someone else was doing the work. So all the emails and all the phone calls got directed to Paul, the property guy. So he was answering the phone and doing the open homes and things like that. So I saved some commission by getting someone else to do that, right? Also, it's not even just saving commission, it allowed me to negotiate a better price as well. So instead of paying 12 grand in agent's commission, it allowed me to make the price a little bit sharper, because effectively at 405, it would have been, I'd have to sell it for 417 to 420 to get that same net figure in my pocket, right? So the other challenge that I wasn't really anticipating was that when I sat down with the buyer the second buyer who eventually bought the property to buy the property from me, he didn't want to settle in 30 days. And I'm going, in my head, I've got this 30-day challenge, I put it out there to thousands of people, and he's not coming to the party with my 30-day challenge, right? Had he known about my 30-day challenge, he probably wouldn't have played the game, because he'd know how much I bought it for. But he was going on a ski holiday to New Zealand. He'd already booked it in and just wanted a 60-day settlement, and that was that. Okay, so I had to figure out how to negotiate that. And in the end, how I negotiated it back to a 30-day settlement was I basically said to him, mate, I'll give you a $1,500 discount, which is 1 month's worth of interest, because he was going away on holiday. He didn't want to leave the property vacant for a month and pay that month's interest. So I just asked him, how about I give you a discount of $1,500, which is roughly a month's interest and then some. So you can settle in 30 days as opposed to 60. You can put it on the rental market. Life's good. And he was happy to do that, and it fit within the 30-day challenge as well, which was all that mattered, right? So then on settlement day, I get a text message from the buyer saying, mate, we're settled now, can I have the keys? So I drive over, because normally, because we've got a couple of houses in the suburb, we leave the keys in the other house mailbox, right? So we turn up, go to the mailbox, and the keys aren't there. The guys just give me 400 grand, 405 grand or whatever, put it in the bank. We've all banked all the money, and now I've lost the keys. So what had happened was, I think the Friday night before, my wife hadn't even seen the property, right? So I thought, okay, Friday night before, after dinner, we'll go and do a property inspection at this house. My wife puts the keys in the mailbox, and then the mailbox is like open. So I reckon what happened, the keys fell on the floor. This is housing commission area. I reckon some kids just thrown it in the drain or something. And then so I had to spend another $235 to change the locks on the house that I wasn't the owner of anymore. Right, so the locksmith said, mate, are you the owner? I said, yes. Because obviously if I'm breaking into the other guy's house, I'm breaking the law. So yeah, I had to basically change the locks on his house to give him a new set of keys, which is quite embarrassing, but pretty funny nonetheless. So here are the figures. So purchased it for $320. Stamp duty and legals were around about 12 grand. There was another roughly 10 grand there, roughly one in advertising. Bought a broom, $5. Sorry. Building and pest was $445. Minor repairs. A property researcher was a couple of grand, because I counted that was about 10 weeks at roughly 10, 15 hours. There, locksmith, holding costs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so the actual amount of work we did to the property was around about $1,000. Yeah. And then there was legals in and out, so about 1 to 2 grand in and out each way. So that's the thing about properties. There's all these transactional fees, whether you like it or not. Fortunately, there's no GST on this because it was a cosmetic reno. Total cost about $340, sale price $405. I gave him a 1 month's discount there, and the net profit for tax was 61, which was really cool. So from settlement to settlement was 21 days. So basically settled on the 15th of August, and then by the 5th of September, we'd gotten paid. Right, so, and one of the reasons why I had to sell it so quickly was because once I settled it, there was a risk that it would hit Pricefinder or real estate, RP Data, and then he would be able to find out how much I paid for it, right? So part of the reasoning why I had to sell it so quickly was, lack of data. Otherwise, the valuer would turn up and say, mate, you're paying $405. The buyer, the guy who sold you, just paid $320. What's going on? So we basically had to play the game as fast as we could to get in, get out, get paid, and move on. So those are the photos once again. But, in the scheme of things, some people think that you have to renovate. Sometimes that works, definitely. Sometimes you have to develop. Sometimes that works. But in this type of transaction, the price point is very important as well. Sub $450, a lot of people can afford it. And there was a handful of people who actually went through looking at it as an owner-occupier property as well. So to finish up, what it was about is about the velocity of money. So turning cash into cars, so houses into cars. So like I said before, purchased it on the 15th, settled it on the 15th of August, settled it on the 5th of September on the sales transaction, 21 days, made over 60 grand profit, and helped pay for my new toy, which is come a couple of weeks ago. So, and that's it. Voila, magic. So we've got time for just a quick question, and then we'll go on to our next speaker. Yes. So what is your name?
Hi. I was just wondering how you negotiate selling the house if the people are still in it?
Yeah, sure. So the house was vacant. So, yeah, part of the deal was when we signed the contract initially, we had the right to show prospective occupants through. So if you read that from a black and white point of view, prospective occupants could be tenants or buyers. Yeah. So we also had the right to renovate the property. before we settled, so we could come in and fix up the termite damage that was there, add some pipes and things like that. So yeah, my dad was all over that, cut the lawn. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But like I said, they made you money when you buy, and that was being the area expert. I just knew the property was under market, and there was a market for it. So cool. One more question. Yes, John.
I was just going to ask, did you not need the title to be registered in your name before you sold it? Did that not create a legal issue?
No, so and Russell, the solicitor, can vouch for this, is the moment you sign a contract, you have what's called equitable interest in the property, and then I have the right to start marketing the thing. Yeah, so we came up with a strategy that wouldn't confuse people and wouldn't also disclose where the property was, so that the actual seller who was selling it to me wouldn't know we'd actually had the property on the market. So there's a few fun and games with that. Yeah, we figured it out. So yeah, and last question with Daniel. So the answer, if that's incorrect, Russell, can you please let me know? So, but yeah.
Just a question in regards to the home finder you were talking about, the door knocker.
Yes.
Is that someone you employ, or are there companies that sort of do that for people, or how did you get around that?
Yeah, sure. So it's just like hiring, a cleaner or a consultant or a PA. You've got to find someone who is happy to talk to people, happy to door knock, happy to talk to strangers. Coincidentally, this person had already done my mentoring program, which some of you may have heard about. He'd done my course, and he'd actually bought a property at Kenmore. I think it was last month's presentation. They had bought the splitter using the system, so they knew it worked. And so basically, I paid them for their hours, and then gave them paid the stamps, and basically trained them on how to do it. So it's just like any skill, whether learning to drive a car. It's just a set of skills, and it's being able to turn that into a result rather than just paying somebody to go and do, hand out flyers. So it takes a bit more skill than that. We'll give them a script on what to say, what not to say, and also deal with objections. And one of the other things, like I mentioned, about the standard offer of $300,000 was I just signed pre-signed contracts, $300,000, just the address blank, and fire them out like nobody's business. So, that's the thing. The person who puts out the most offers wins. So, awesome. So what I'll get you to do, please, is turn to the person or people next to you and share with them what you get out of the presentation, and go.